One of the most pressing demands of the contemporary education worker and students movement is that quality climate change education needs to be taught across all curricula, from early childhood education all the way up to higher education. Learning about climate change is a central aspect of quality education. In fact, there is no quality education. We cannot talk about quality education without a climate component within education curricula. And this is why education workers need to be provided with the capacity, with the resources, with the training and skills to integrate climate and sustainability into teaching and learning. Students, in our opinion, should not only achieve climate literacy by the time they complete their educational journey, but we need to create supportive educational environments that encourage student-led climate action and sustainable behaviors. We have the right as learners to gain the knowledge, skills and attitudes necessary to sustain our world for future generations, and we need tailor-made education that prepares us for the work in a greener economy. In this effort, we also must take into account the lifelong learning perspective and provide upskilling opportunities to support those who are currently undergoing the necessary transitions from unsustainable to greener jobs. And we're talking about a massive amount, an enormous number of people, of learners, and it's steadily increasing. So just transition as a concept cannot be achieved without catering for the educational opportunities and the educational needs of this group. But reimagining our curricula along the lines of climate change cannot be done without fundamentally rethinking the way we teach and learn in the broader context of intersectionality and the dimensions of social and economic justice. Our education systems need to be decolonized and indigenized to include local sensitivities, traditions and cultures and critical worldviews. And by incorporating these previously marginalized and excluded voices and pedagogies, education can create an environment that allows more and more people to question persisting imperial practices and the appropriation of labor and resources from the global south in the pursuit of an illusion of everlasting economic growth, primarily in the Western world, at the expense of people and the planet. We are convinced that unjust economic and social realities are upheld and reproduced by an unjust allocation of power within our political systems. But by decolonizing our education and making it more accessible to everyone, we can shift that power and transform socioeconomic realities lastingly. Earlier this year, we had a students' pre-congress to COP27, hosted with the All Africa Students Union and the GSF in Ghana, and we had elected leaders of 30 countries coming together to define their vision for climate justice. For us, climate justice is about learning from past and current inequalities and understanding the implications, but also understanding that those, and it was said by colleagues before, who have contributed the least and are in the worst position to adapt to it, are paying and will continue to pay the highest price. By 2050, conservative estimates, when it comes to loss and damage costs, estimate the cost of loss and damage in developing world between 1 trillion and 1.8 trillion US dollars. And these calculations do not include non-economic losses such as loss of life, loss of territory, loss of culture. So it's out of the question that developed nations have a historic and moral responsibility to act, but yet looking at the outcomes of the latest conference of the parties, are failing to phase out fossil fuels fast enough and are continuously resisting to make severe and sincere financial commitments to finance adaptation and loss and damage. So the international student movement, as the largest youth-led movement of young people representing interests, has been at the forefront of this struggle because everything is at stake for young people. Everything is at stake. They are the ones that are going to be impacted the most.